No, I don't want to get a tattoo.
Howdy, and welcome back to the workshop. My name is Will Stelter. I'm a professional bladesmith. And Matt, who are you?
I'm Matt.
Matt is also a professional bladesmith, the co-founder of Stelter Manufacturing. And today we have a very special episode planned for you. You see, it is now hunting season, which is a very special time of the year, perhaps the most special time of the year. And so we're going to be producing our two different hunting designs. They're starting off at a very similar place. They're both cut from a sheet of 5200 steel. And then we're going to finish them out and talk about why we decided to do them differently. The reason why it's high stakes is because we were talking and we want to do a little bit of a competition, and we thought, you know what would be fun? Tattoos. Tattoos would be fun. Neither Matt or I, you don't have any tattoos, do you, Matt?
No, sir.
Not yet.
Not gonna.
He's gonna.
That's my credo. No regrets.
We'll talk more about the details of that later on. For now, we'll tell you why we did our knives the way that we did them.
Now, when I was designing the Errol Hunter, I did in fact name it after a Tolkien character that ChatGPT told me about. So I'm not that big of a nerd.
Outside, nerd. Get out. Go.
Even though I agree. Anyway, back to the design. When I was designing the Errol Hunter, I wanted a medium to large size hunting knife, camp knife that just felt really good in my hand and really locked in there. And honestly, I just like the way it looks.
Okay, so there's a couple big features on this that I made for a very specific reason. Now, the handle has a bit of a palm swell in the middle. That just, when you have a full grip on it, feels really nice. Now moving forward from there, we've got this kind of sharpening choil area. It's not a finger choil. It's not quite large enough for that. Now you notice also that I dropped the tip in there. Now that's partially aesthetic, but I also do like having a slightly more rounded tip for when I'm going through and skinning or something like that. Then on the back of the handle, got that little bird's beak at the end. It's not super aggressive. I find that the more aggressive of lines that I put into a handle, the less comfortable it is for some people and the more comfortable it is for others. I'll put a lanyard hole in there as well. I don't really use lanyards, but a lot of folks do like them. On the edge itself, we do have a big belly, which will be nice for going through and kind of fleshing stuff out and whatnot. And then that kind of flat spot towards the back if I'm going through, cutting around my legs or something like that. That's the area that I'm going to be using for that. So that's the reason why I designed this the way that I did.
We forgot to mention it in the intro, but these knives are live right now on steltermanufacturing.com. So as you're watching this video, keep that in mind. I'm going to get these in the heat treat. We'll see you tomorrow. Well, the knives are up to 1525 degrees and ready for clinch. That's pretty good, huh? Just about time to give you guys the rules that we're thinking of for this tattoo competition. The rules for said tattoo competition are as follows. The video must get at least 20,000 likes, and whoever's knife gets the most likes in the comment section will get tattooed on the other person. So, if you want to see Will get a tattoo, say my knife's better. If you want to see me get a tattoo, say Will's knife's better. But we all know my knife's gonna be better. You're gonna get a tattoo later in this video. It's gonna be great.
We'll see. If people really want to see me get a tattoo, they can vote that way. All right, now this is gonna have to be a two-part video because we do want to get the actual tattooing happening on camera, and obviously we can't put that in the video if we're voting in the comments on this video. So the next video will be testing and tattooing, and this video is just the good old-fashioned knife making. Make sure you stay tuned for the second part because I can't wait to see Matt get a knife tattoo just right on his butt.
Well, let's ink my stink.
We got these boys heat treated and tempered, which means they're now ready for bevel grinding. I think that this knife is gonna look really good right there. I might have it like go through, like look like it's going through his nipple. Kind of funny.
I don't think we're allowed to say nipple on YouTube.
Uh-oh. Well, we'll give it a shot. If we get demonetized, it'll still be worth it. Matt, what's your next step? Because I think you're gonna go first. Great.
I didn't know you were gonna ask me a question. Yeah, my next step is to get the choil area of my knife cleaned up so I can scribe my center line, lay out where I want my bevels, and get this thing ground.
Awesome. And I'll check back in with you once he's done that.
I'm gonna head into the grinding room, get the edge cleaned off so I can scribe the center line. That's the one. Comment below if you have worse belt storage than Will and I. Look at that. That's pretty close. Not bad. Pretty darn good. So I got my bevels roughed in. Now I'm going to go in and clean up these flats before cutting in my plunge lines and putting the final finish on my blade. So I'm gonna finish my flats to 120 grit. Because this knife's getting Cerakoted, 120 grit is just about the right grit to where once we sandblast it and the Cerakote goes on, you don't see any scratches. So that's the sweet spot we've found. Now I'm going to use this file guide to square up my plunges. I tend to trust a file guide a lot more than my own grinding ability. Well, I just got this thing finished ground up and it looks fantastic, just like all the other ones that'll be available on the site right now. So go get one. Let's go have a look what Will's up to.
That's Matthew right there. He's got the Stelter Manufacturing hat on, beard. You can see the fear in his eyes. Let's go get my knife ground up and looking better than whatever that is.
Impossible.
It's gonna perform better also and look better.
Impossible.
I'm just gonna clean off my edge so I can get my, scribe my center line in there. So one of the other features that I added into this knife is that even though it has a sharpening choil on it, a problem with too tight of a sharpening choil is it can catch skin. And so I made this thing a 1/2 inch radius and rolled it out a little bit so that if you do get that below skin, it will roll off as opposed to catching and not actually cutting through. Okay, got some center lines in there. Now we'll go grind. We're gonna get it flattened off first, and then we will grind in our bevels. All right, I'm gonna start off with a 60 grit to get this thing pretty dang flat, and then I'll move to the disc over there with a 120 grit. Okay, so I got it flattened off on the disc so that my scales will sit flush when I get them on there. And then I got it beveled. I got it started with a 60 grit belt so that when I start with this nice fresh new 50 grit, it will not destroy the belt quite so fast, and I'll be able to get through the majority of my grinding process with that before we go on to a 120 and then a Scotch-Brite.
Well, we just got done grinding, and I have to say, Will, your knife is looking pretty good for someone who's only been doing it for 12 years.
Thanks.
Not quite as good as mine, but you know,
How long have you been
one
doing
can
it for?
hope.
Also 12 years?
Shorter, but I'm good at it.
So next, we got to slap some handles on there. I think we're both gonna do similar styles of bolt-on handles, partially because we are gonna have these knives Cerakoted. I'm actually gonna go use this before I have it Cerakoted. But the rest of the knives, the production ones, will be Cerakoted. So that's why they're finished like this. Normally, if we're gonna do a satin finish, most of the time we'd hand finish it, but these are gonna get sandblasted and coated, so it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't.
I think I'm gonna go first so that I can sabotage him on this one, because apparently Matt's a scheming little son of a gun.
Impossible. I'm unsabotageable.
He tried to make it so that I couldn't scribe center lines. Fortunately, I have more than one trick up my sleeve, so I still did it anyway, but that's fine. I'm gonna be using this Fire Canvas micarta. It is a very vibrant scarlet blood orange type color. It's gonna look really good, and this is what's going on the actual production ones as well. So we're gonna head into the bandsaw, chop out some scales, drill, countersink, all that good stuff, and then we'll get them bolted on. Matt already hid the countersink from me. Oh my gosh.
You have it back. In the spirit of fair play.
I knew you were gonna do that.
I think it's the right drill bit.
So we have to go through that silly kind of progression of drill bits because the countersink for the heads of the screws is the same size as the male part of these screws. They don't make one that is the same size as like an 1/8 inch drill bit, which is the size of the barrel pivot, which would make way more sense. So we go and we dimple it, then we drill all the way through, then we flip it over and countersink so that the heads of the screws will sit below the surface of the scales. Then we go back and drill all the way through so that the barrel pivot will fit. So it's a weird way to do it, but it's the way that we have to do it, but it's kind of a bummer. All right, that is nice and tight, no lights coming through. So the next step is to shape it to the tang on the belt grinder. Just go up there and kind of buzz it in. Before we do that, we're gonna let Matt drill his holes and do all that fun stuff. And another quick reminder, whoever loses this challenge is gonna get the other person's knife tattooed on them. We'll talk more about how to vote and stuff like that at the end of the video.
So for the handle material on my Hunter, I have chosen a crosscut canvas micarta, just a natural canvas micarta, and OD Green G10 liners. So now I gotta get both of these flattened off, glued together, and then stuck onto my knife. Okay, so I got my two pieces flattened off. I'm going to use this heat treating plate setup to glue them together. And it's super gonna stay. Oh, that was actually too much super glue. You distracted me, now it's all, oh, I'm definitely gonna glue this. This is not going well. Now we wait. Because I put too much glue, I have to wait a little longer, but usually it's only 10-15 seconds, and then they're stuck together forever. Our second scale is all glued. Now we just gotta clean them up and bolt them on. Easy as that.
Hold up for a second.
Oh gosh.
Right there. It's gonna be good.
This is why you can't.
I don't want to get a tattoo, Matt. Will you shank your project?
No, I don't want to get a tattoo. And you came up with this idea. I said pie in the face, and you go, no, let's get tattoos. And I was like, no, I don't want to get tattoos.
Bad idea.
And then you're like, oh my gosh.
Bad idea.
Yeah, bad idea. We're halfway through filming the damn video. Okay, I'm going to go finish these. Pretty nice to me. Okay, Now that I got my scales flattened off and glued together, this crosscut canvas micarta has a tendency to be kind of wavy just because it's the end grain of the micarta. So I glue a liner to it, flatten them together, and now they're perfectly flat and they'll stay that way, which is good. Got to get them stuck on the knife. Basically, 2 pieces of masking tape, glue them together, drill your holes so they stay in the exact right spot. You can make this look like I'm really good at cutting. It's just 2 little dots of super glue, and then glue my knife to it. Boom. The reason I do it this way is these barrel pivots are super, super precise. So if your holes are in the wrong spot at all, it makes it super difficult to get everything lined up. Okay. And that's all we needed that tape for. And just pop it off. Now that I got my holes drilled in one scale, I'm going to glue it to the other scale. Just 1, 2. So now I got to get my scales apart, and look at here. I got this knife that does real good at getting in there. Ooh, it's just like gutting a deer, I've been told. Boom. So instead of guesstimating, I am going to use a pre-done Arrow scale and use that as the depth set for my countersink. Okay, I found my number 30 drill bit, which is just slightly bigger than 1/8 of an inch, which for this material, when you drill it at 1/8 of an inch, it's super, super tight and makes it really hard to take it apart, but a number 30 works just perfectly. Go through the back side. Okay, I got my 2 barrel pivots. Boom. Money. There we go, a seamless fit. Now we just got to clean up the profiles, give it a little shape, get them sanded, and we're done. They're done.
They're not done. They could be done. Mine was more done than yours. We're gonna flip a tenderfoot to see who gets to go first. We got an X on one side and not on the other side. Matt, do you wanna call it midair?
X.
That wasn't midair. It's the X side. Do you wanna go first?
Yes.
Great.
Well, now that I won, hopefully not for the first time in this video, second time soon to come, a little tattoo on old Willie. I'm gonna head into the grinding room, get the profile cleaned up, and start contouring the scales. So I have my scales profiled, and now I'm gonna begin the shaping so we can move on to hand sanding and this thing finished up, ready for the field. Well, I got this thing off the grinder. Most of it's up to 600 grit off the belt. I'm gonna go back in and just hand sand it, make sure all the little lumps and stuff I can't get out with the grinder are out. And then the only thing left before Cerakoting is to just soften up these sharp, crisp corners on the spine and then on the finger choil here so that it's just a more comfortable grip. But
Matthew Roland Susan Hartwig. Let's have a look at that knife.
oh, jeez. You know that's nice.
Guys, it actually feels really good. I would never tell Matthew his face though. While Matt is hand sanding on his handle, I'm gonna start grinding on mine. All right, now we're gonna shape the tops of the scales. We'll trim off the extra material with the bandsaw and then grind them and finish them up to about 600 grit. This thing is looking good. What do you think, Mart? Marty, am I gonna win? Am I gonna win? Am I gonna win? Oh, he put his tongue in my mouth.
That's no.
Marty, am I gonna win? Is Matt gonna get a knife tattooed on his butt? Yeah, I agree.
Hey, Marty, is Will gonna get Marty? Marty, come here.
Marty's like, I don't talk to losers.
Mart, is Will gonna get this knife tattooed on his back?
No.
Yeah. Is he? Is
He's
he?
being influenced.
Marty, is he? Is he? Is he?
Nope, he didn't say yes.
Is he gonna get this?
All right, the knives are back from Cerakote, and I have to say that they're looking lovely. Well, clearly one of these knives is much nicer. So let's move on to our final thoughts.
Well, guys, I had an absolutely fantastic time making this video, competing with Will. It was a blast. My 3 favorite features of this knife are the versatile blade. It's a great length for skinning out an animal, using in the backcountry or just around the campsite. My second feature that I'm really enjoying is this larger finger choil that just really accommodates a lot of different sizes of hands, as well as the third and final thing that some would say is the most important is the handle material itself. I love the combination of the crosscut canvas micarta and the OD green G10 liners. It's overall just a fantastic knife, and if you guys are interested in picking one up, head on over to steltermanufacturing.com, and remember to go down and vote for my knife in the comments, and let's get Will his first tattoo.
Okay, so my final thoughts start with this. I really love how this knife looks. One of the things that I incorporate into a lot of my designs is the swoop in the back of the handle, the dip, and then the drop in the blade, and it just looks fantastic. And then the black and red looks unbelievable. I did use this knife last weekend on an elk, and it performed very well. That kind of dropped blade where the belly of the knife is very easy to use when you're holding it like this, or kind of in any way, is really nice. I was very pleased with that. And then the ergonomics and the shape of the handle is super comfortable in every position. I was holding it all sorts of different ways going through that animal, and it was comfortable the whole time. So I'm really stoked on this guy. Now, here's the thing. I do think this is a great hunting knife, but I think that you should vote for it because I don't really care if I get a tattoo, but Matt really doesn't want to get one, and I just think that it would be really funny. So you guys should go vote for this knife in the comments down below. This was a ton of fun. I had a great time building this thing and then having a little competition with Matt. He and I have been friends for a long time, and I just really want him to get a tattoo. So please, guys, you can make it happen.
Thank you guys so much for following along. Head on over to steltermanufacturing.com and pick up one of these awesome knives today.
Or a hat, or a t-shirt, or maybe Marty.
And don't forget to vote down in the comments.
And thank you to our patrons for patronizing us. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.